What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to talk a bit about vertical sync or VSync, what it is, when you should use it, and then some pros and cons. So it's an option that is in many video games, and right now I have Star Wars Battlefront 2 open, and it's an option in this game as well. So what is it? VSync or vertical sync, it locks the frame rate to the refresh rate of the full screen display. So that depends on what kind of monitor you have basically. I have a 60 Hertz monitor and the most frames per second it can display is 60. If you have 144 Hertz, I'm not quite sure what the FPS for that will be, but it'll be different. So it locks it to the most your monitor can show. Now there is one downside to it. You'll be one frame behind usually. So if it's a casual game that you're playing, like a casual arcade shooter, like Star Wars Battlefront 2, you really won't notice a difference. Like I've played it with it off or with it on, and I don't notice any difference. But if you're playing a super competitive shooter like CSGO, I recommend turning it off. And I'm just going to turn it off just to show you. See, as you can see in the top left, my FPS is locked to 60 here. If I turn it off, it's going to be maxing out my graphics card. So a pro to turning it on is it takes pressure off the graphics card, and over time, it'll have less hardware strain on it. Now, graphics cards nowadays, they're made pretty good. You don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff, but over time, if you plan on having it for a while, it probably will make a difference. You're running it at maximum capacity versus like not even half, right? So I have this game maxed out on Ultra, and I get about like 170 FPS, but that's my GPU running at its full potential all the time. And what's the point, right? It's not a competitive game, so I just turn it off. That's basically when you should and when you shouldn't use it, in my opinion. So why should you turn it on in a competitive, or why should you turn it off in a competitive game like CSGO? Well, the one frame delay, that can be like the difference between life and death in that game. You get headshot, you die instantly. Like there's no forgiveness. Things where split-second decisions happen, and it's a competitive match. There's rankings, you climb the ranks. I recommend turning it off. And what that means, you'll get like, I don't know, let's say you get 300 FPS, but your monitor will only display 60 FPS. You'll only see 60 FPS. So even though you think, oh, I have 300, this is so smooth, you're looking at 60. That's why when you lock it, it doesn't matter. You still see it smoothly. But so when it's off, the monitor has 300 FPS to choose from when displaying 60. So it's not going to miss any frames per second that way either. So you don't have to worry about that. But that is basically the pros and cons of VSync. If you're playing a competitive game, turn it off. But if it's not that serious, turn it on. Save your graphics card a little bit, What's the point? Like this game still runs just as smooth. I haven't noticed a single difference. One thing I will say, make sure that the FPS you get can actually reach the monitor's limit before turning it on, because otherwise it doesn't do anything, right? I constantly get more than 60, so this actually gives me some benefit. If you're not getting more than 60, don't even bother with this. Either lower your resolution, lower the graphics settings. Those are ways to increase your FPS. But anyways, I'm just rambling now at this point. That is what VSync is, guys, or vertical sync. Hopefully that helps gain some insight, and hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.